welcome Irina and Maxims. This is Global Digest think tank group. We are doing analysis and discussion about global crisis, including politics, economy, and any other global crisis. Nowadays, we know Ukraine has serious crisis invaded by China. I support fully Ukraine defense against Chinese Russian invasion. In spite, we have also crisis, Burmese crisis at our home country, but we are fully support Ukraine, and we have to support each other against any invasion and any dictator and military invasion to any civilian. So this is our currently facing between Ukraine and Burma. So I want to know, firstly, if you can introduce about yourself and, to our audience. And I don't know what is your IMMER group. If you could explain more so we can know each other more. So please, Irina.
Что такое Immer Group? Это компания, которая производит гибкую упаковку.
Immer Group is a... Я буду переводить пару предложений.
Ну, давай переводи.
Immer Group is a company which is producing flexible packaging.
В основном в Украине и в Латвии производственная площадка.
Mainly in Ukraine, but there is also a production site in Latvia.
То есть, ну, если ты хочешь услышать об Immer Group, то лучше это слушать от текущих руководителей.
If you want to know more about Immer Group, it's better that you hear this from our current heads, current CEOs.
Операционного директора.
From an operational director.
Если у тебя вопросы по рынку, давай обсуждать.
If you will have questions regarding the market of flexible packaging, we can also discuss this.
Okay, so I'm not expert on business. I more discuss about politics and economic crisis in Ukraine. So we also have a military dictator, in Burma. Now we are defending military dictator against Burmese civilian because the military overthrow democracy elected government and they took by force and oppressing all these democratic activists and all these civilian leader. They put jail and they kill and they fire their houses and villages. So this is we are facing in Burma. In case of Ukraine, we see it is not within domestic crisis. It is invaded by Russia. Russia is undemocratic. Putin is undemocratic. Even though they say democracy. Nobody agree Putin a democratic leader. He is undemocratic. Ukraine is much democratic country and liberal democratic country. So people support liberal democracy with the Ukraine country. So in that way, we are now facing all kind of authoritarianism and mostly left-wing ideology, socialism, communism, against democracy. Both of us, we are troubled about oppressed by left-wing authoritarian, undemocratic, communist, socialist ideology group. So that is what we're facing. And can you also explain more about Ukraine ideology? Ukrainian people, we know they are liberal democracy, and how much more, the whole population, including Eastern Ukraine and Western Ukraine, Central Ukraine, how much people support for liberal democracy, and what is their real interest? Is anybody really want to be a left-wing ideology, communism or socialism, or something like that?
Макс, хорошо, Иван, будешь меня не переводи мне, я поняла вопрос, ты просто меня
Окей.
аккуратно переводи, окей?
Да.
Ну, то есть я буду отвечать долго для того, чтобы ты понял, что такое Украина и что происходит.
I will answer you along that you would understand what is Ukraine and what is the real situation now.
Украина – это унитарная страна.
Ukraine is a unitary country.
И Украина – это многонациональная страна.
And it's a multinational country.
То есть у нас на Украине около 70 разных национальностей.
In Ukraine, we have around 70 different nations.
То есть основные – это Украина, русские, евреи, поляки, венгры, татары, крымские татары, и немцы, и много других национальностей.
The main are Ukrainians, Russians, Jewish, Polish, German, Tatar, Crimean Tatars, and others.
Others, yeah. Исторически Украина всегда была свободной страной.
Historically, Ukraine it was always a free country.
Ну, если мы вообще говорим об истории этой территории, то в шестом тысячелетии до нашей эры скифская цивилизация – это именно территория Украины, и это были самые огромные города мира.
If talking historically, in the 6th century,
6 лет, тысяч лет нашей эры.
6,000 years from now, the Skiff civilization that was located on the territory was the biggest populated cities and in the world.
Упоминание вообще об Украине, как о Киеве, начинается где-то в 700 году нашей эры.
If we go back to history, Ukraine was firstly talked about approximately 700, да? 700, 800 at the time of the Kiev Rus.
То есть и на этой территории всегда находилось много разных наций.
And on this territory, historically, there were a lot of different nations living.
И они всегда жили дружно, и никогда не было никаких проблем, связанных с национальностью.
And all these nations who lived on this territory were always living together without having any conflicts or different conflicts according to their nationality.
То есть сегодня деление Украины на центральную, западную, восточную, там, южную Украину – это деление, которое является российским нарративом и вообще не имеет никакого отношения к тому, что происходит на Украине.
So today, dividing Ukraine into parts like the eastern, the western, the central part, the southern part, is actually a result of Russian narratives and has nothing to do with us.
I
Я,
see.
например, мои родители жили в городе Кировограде. Вернее, я в детстве жила в городе Кировограде. Моя мама из Мелитополя, который сегодня оккупирован, временно оккупирован русскими.
During my childhood, I lived in Kirovograd, and my mother is from Melitopol, town in Ukraine, which is now being occupied by the Russian forces, Russian army.
Папа всегда говорил на украинском и иврите, мама говорила на русском.
Father was always talking in Ukrainian and Ivrit, and my mother, she was speaking in Russian, talking in Russian.
При этом они прожили счастливую жизнь 50 лет, пока не умер папа.
And together they lived a happy life, almost 50 years together, until my father died.
То есть я говорю на русском языке и говорила на русском языке даже в Верховном Совете и в правительстве, и никогда не ощущала вообще никаких проблем.
So I personally speak Russian. I don't feel any problems speaking Russian. I even talk Russian in the Верховна Рада, is the higher council we have. And never had problems with me speaking in Russian.
То есть если мы говорим об идеологии, которая на Украине, то это, ну, в принципе, украинский народ, украинский, я имею в виду граждане Украины, любой национальности. Это демократический народ, который демократически настроен и готов снести любое правительство и критикует правительство, и это нормально в нашей стране.
So ideologically speaking, in our country is the people who are very pro-democratic type of thinking, and they will do anything and all they can to move or to do something which they see is not democratic.
То есть, поэтому, а Россия, давайте вернемся к России, это феодальное государство, культура которого построена на угнетении, и это внутри русского народа.
And comparing Ukraine to Russia, Russia is a country with a feudal society type, and was always governed by that people were always put down, and this is how they lived throughout its existence.
Переведи правильно. Это культурные особенности, культурологические особенности русского народа.
And it's to be more precise, it's a more cultural speciality of the Russian people.
То есть на Украине никогда не было рабства и крепостного права, а в России крепостное право отменено 140 лет тому назад.
In Ukraine, we never had the so-called serfdom, but in Russia, Ukraine was always kind of free, but in Russia, the serfdom was cancelled only approximately 100 years ago.
То есть, ну, поэтому вот это то, что надо понимать для того, чтобы оценить, что происходит на Украине.
And this is the main thing you should understand in order for you and for the people to understand what is really happening in Ukraine.
I see. Right. So, so what about Irina? You are also working in government, right? At Kyiv City. And what about the other? You have many multi-races, multi-ethnic group. You know, Ukraine also many ethnic group, Russian, Polish, and many other as well. And as you said, and also some very close to Russian in the Eastern Europe and southern or northern, some many other minority ethnic groups. So you are also legal scholar. So how Ukrainian constitution and government structure guarantee those other ethnic group they can live very their own ethnic freedom, ethnic rights according to the human right norm and standard, and how Ukrainian law, constitution guarantee.
Макс, переведи мне. То есть он хочет узнать, что изменилось во время войны?
Нет, он, во-первых, спросил, работаете ли вы на правительство или имеете отношение к правительству, насколько правительство считает, что нужно иметь ну, направление более к свободе. И, ну, то есть про войну он ничего не говорил.
Я не работаю на правительство.
I don't work for the government.
Я представляю бизнес, и я председатель профессиональной, ну, я возглавляю профессиональную ассоциацию, Украинскую профессиональную ассоциацию.
I am from this business and I am representing the
Association of Flexible Packaging in Ukraine. Насколько правительство настроено на демократию, да?
Ну, на свободу, да, на демократию.
Давайте я вернусь к истории, скажи, ну, ответ на этот вопрос.
So I would like to return again back to the history.
Нет, к ответу на вопрос, насколько правительство настроено на демократию.
So the answer to this question would be a return again to the history, how much our government is going towards the freedom and governments of freedom of our country.
Любое правительство на Украине, которое бы попыталось бы хоть на секунду аннулировать демократические нормы и права граждан, его бы снесли ровно в течение одной недели и поменяли бы.
So any government which would rule in our country and would go or in terms of anti-democratic rule or anti-democratic laws would be moved and by the people very, very quickly.
То есть Украина уже имела эти примеры, и это, несмотря на войну, произошло бы очень быстро.
Ukraine already had such examples, and despite the war, it would happen very, very quickly as well.
Я хочу добавить, что с первого дня войны весь украинский бизнес, ну, фактически сидит в офисе президента и в правительстве и помогает стране.
So I would like to add an important thing that from the first day of the Russian-Ukrainian war, the whole business of Ukraine is actually located and sitting together with the government of Ukraine and helping the government fight the Russian aggression against our country.
То есть сегодня работают не только президент и правительство, назначенное Верховным Советом, а оно работает вместе с бизнесом. То есть и многие решения принимаются совместно.
So today, it's not only the president and the government who is working for the victory. It's also the business which is helping the government to fight, to make the correct decisions, and to help in terms of winning the war.
Right. So Ukraine government is now defending against Russian invasion. So how current latest situation Ukraine government can able to defend sufficiently so far, or what are the most obstacle to defend? What Ukraine need the most thing? What are the most risky one, and what is the most Ukraine can fail if you don't do?
Макс, переведи, я не понимаю.
На сегодняшний день, так как правительство борется с агрессией, какие самые главные преграды на их пути и что может помешать им бороться с агрессией против России, конкретные вещи какие-то?
Мгм. Ну, понятно, что Россия по численности превосходит Украину.
So it is truly understood that the Russian forces prevail the forces of Ukrainian army.
Иди по численности, Макс, переводи меня дословно. Это
In
важно.
terms of numbers.
Right.
Only for numbers, only for numbers. It's
Right.
very important, yeah? То есть единственная проблема, которая может возникнуть, это проблема, когда нас предадут наши друзья.
The only problem we could have encounter is that if our friends would betray us.
То есть,
For example, who? France mean European friends or American friends or
all. We have lot of friends, not only European and American. We have a lot of friends in other territory. This is only one problem.
okay. So any friend, if they are
Да,
if they are
Макс,
state
скажи,
only,
открытые и не
it can be
открытые.
dangerous, right?
Говорит, что ну, не только друзья, которые вот те, которые он назвал, что если кто-то предаст, то это будет означать опасность для Украины.
Ну, если кто-то один предаст, это не страшно. А если...
Что?
То есть это, это уже мы начинаем политический разговор, но на самом деле действительно Украине нужна помощь и поддержка наших друзей. И без нее будет очень сложно.
So just to summarize that Ukraine really needs help of let's say the friends, the global help, and if one of them betrays, maybe nothing will happen. But anyway, for Ukraine, without this global help, would be very difficult to continue fighting.
Но с другой стороны, Украина не только просит, Украина и делает для всех очень много, несмотря на войну.
And Ukraine is not only asking for help, Ukraine is actually doing by itself a lot of things for the victory.
Несмотря не для победы, а для других.
And not only for victory, but also for doing back to the countries which are helping.
Обращаю внимание, что несмотря на то, что Россия заблокировала... Макс, убери телефон. Несмотря на то, что Россия заблокировала все порты и сжигает и ворует наше продовольствие, которое было предназначено на экспорт, Украина уже начала экспортировать зерновую продукцию.
Despite the fact that Russia blocked the ports and is burning down the crops which were collected, Ukraine is now exporting the food and grain is doing some export now.
То есть по своим экспортным контрактам. Также Украина экспортирует металлопродукцию, точнее говоря, начала экспортировать, нашла логистические пути и выполнять обязательства перед своими клиентами.
Also, Ukraine is doing export of metal products and is doing its contract. Well, what it has to do by the contract for its customers.
То есть, кроме того, аграрии Украины засеяли всю территорию Украины, несмотря на то, что часть была заминирована и только оккупирована, и планируется урожай ну, до 70% от прошлого года.
Also the agrarians of Ukraine, they planted and seeded most of the territories of Ukraine, despite the fact that the territories were mined with mines, and it was difficult to make the crops this year.
Right.
Вчера была пресс-конференция первого заместителя министра аграрной промышленности с полной статистикой.
Yesterday there was a conference with the заместитель или first deputy of the Minister of Agrarian Affairs with the complete and full statistics of the situation with the agrarian market.
Поэтому я думаю, что наши друзья заинтересованы нам помогать, даже потому, что Украина делает все для того, чтобы помогать им.
That is why our friends they understand why they should help us, because Ukraine is doing everything in order to help them back.
Right. So, you know, Ukraine is doing very good job to defend from authoritarian left-wing ideology against democracy, right? So it's not only defending Ukrainian, it's about all this free world democracy ideology. So all these democratic government, all these democratic countries should support Ukrainian, all this crisis. And I think all around the world, they will keep supporting. I think if betray Ukraine means they are betraying democracy, you know, no one should do that. And I don't think it will be happen. Yeah, nobody doing like that. So I think Ukraine can win the war. But in terms of weapon, what is, do you have sufficient weapons so far? Because many European, American, and other, they supply some of them. I don't know, they could able to supply sufficiently as Ukrainian require. And what is the most necessary weapon right now, and what is the most dangerous Russian weapon attacking Ukrainian? So you can tell us, the public, so people can know more about Ukrainian situation, the weapon situation.
Ну, я же не военный министр, я не обладаю такой полной информацией.
I'm not in the Minister of Military Affairs. I don't have the full information on this question.
Я знаю, что ну, проблема – это ракетные удары, которые идут с территории Черного моря и с территории Белоруссии и уже оккупированного Херсона.
So I know that the problem for today is the rockets flying from the towards Ukraine from the Black Sea, from the Belarusian side, and from the already occupied territories by Russians.
Украине нужно оружие, которое бы блокировало, дало ну, больше такого противоракетного вооружения.
And Ukraine it would be good for Ukraine to get more anti-missile type of military anti-missile weaponry in order to stop these rockets.
Плюс то, что известно всем, что Россия поднялась, ну, и у Белоруссии, и у бывших советских республик забрала сейчас бомбы по артиллерийские установки, и нам тоже нужна артиллерия, которая бы противодействовала ей.
And because we know that Russia collected the artillery weaponry from former Soviet countries and collected it
Not
to
all Soviet countries, которые подчиняются ей фактически.
which are under its rule. So they collected these artillery weapons, and of course, Ukraine, to counter these weapons, needs something similar, or maybe something which could stand against these weapons.
Sure.
То есть, в любом случае, ответ на этот вопрос должен быть получен от Министерства обороны.
A more precise reply regarding the type of weaponry for today should be received from the Ukrainian Ministry of Military Affairs.
I see. So, by the way, just rocket or the Russian, they also use other, chemical weapon or any very dangerous thing. Do they use in rocket?
Макс.
В боеголовке, он говорит, используют только взрывные компоненты или химические, или другие запрещенные.
Смотрите, это уже установлено. Факты применения запрещенного оружия уже установлены и ООН, и мировыми этими исследователями. Переведи.
So true that the facts of Russians using the restricted weaponry is already put down, and the facts have been written down by the United Nations and other international type of specialists, organizations, yes, who put these facts down.
Макс, переводим. Термобарическое оружие, фосфорные бомбы, химическое оружие было применено в Мариуполе.
So, быстро перейду. So thermic bombs, then phosphorus bombs, and also chemical type of chemical bombs or weaponry, but which there are facts of it being used in during the operation Azovstal in city Mariupol.
И сейчас они применяют санцепёк, я даже не знаю, как называется это оружие.
And today they use the special type of it's called missile artillery, Sontsepёk.
Russian, new Russian.
It's a new type of new generation Russian type of weapons which they use.
Оно тоже запрещено, я не знаю, какая его, классификация его, но оно тоже запрещенное.
And this weapon, these weapons are also banned to use during the war, but we don't know the exact way how it works.
Right. So, similar to Ukrainian people, the Burmese people also defending again military government. Burmese democratic government was thrown away. Now military government is shooting the civilian, whoever support democracy. And they use a lot of Russian weapons by Burmese military government. They use Russian helicopter, Russian rocket, and Russian tank, and Russian, all kind of weapons. Using Russian weapon, and they are killing civilian democracy supporter. So Ukraine is very fresh and very close Russian, and Ukraine face Russian attack. How those bad people are attacking, democratic civilian people, similar to Burmese military. How you want to encourage and support the Burmese democratic people who are defending military attack, military regime attack. please, can you say any encourage word or any suggestion or any comment?
Макс, скажи, переведи, я не поняла.
Да, так как Украина сейчас хорошо сражается правильно эффективно с Россией, защищает демократию, что вы можете посоветовать нашей стране, Бирме, для того, чтобы те силы, демократические силы, которые сражаются с милитаристским режимом, которые их убивают русскими же ракетами, танками и так далее, что вы можете посоветовать им для того, чтобы они лучше боролись с нынешним милитаристским режимом в Бирме?
Что я могу посоветовать? Я,
All bad people, right? We are seeing all bad people nowadays.
У нас одна задача сейчас уничтожить Россию как страну и превратить ее в 44 разных страны. И полностью тотализировать.
We have one main aim is to defeat Russia and to divide it into 40 plus type of countries, territories.
И полностью демилитаризировать эти страны.
And completely demilitarize these countries in order for them not to use the weapons.
У нас, то есть, у нас не было проблемы бороться за демократию на Украине. Я не знаю, как это делать. То есть у нас она всегда была внутри, то есть у нас не было никогда ситуации, когда было полное порабощение. И не было военного переворота антидемократического.
So we always we never had so we didn't have
опыта, как у них. У нас есть война, но
yeah, we have a war, but we have democracy fighting, but we don't have a similar situation like you have in Burma. This is why it's a bit difficult.
Да. И я хотела бы просто о ситуации в Украине, о том, что такое Россия, сказать, пользуясь случаем.
And just I would like to add more about to talk about Russia in terms of how we see it.
Россия ведь применяет массовое устрашение, массовые изнасилования групповые, пытки, убийства, пытки детей, изнасилование групповое маленьких детей, мужчин, женщин. То есть это как способ ведения войны.
So I don't know if you are aware, except for the weaponry and the things they're doing bad in the military, they're using a lot of really like war crime things, like raping women, raping children, raping men, women, killing civilians, torturing civilians, doing a lot of war crime. And doing a lot of war crime.
Definitely, even in Burma military regime, the dictator military, they do such kind of war crime. I think Russian is doing against upon the Ukrainian people, right?
Он говорит, он говорит, что в Бирме то же самое, и говорит, что Россия, скорее всего, делает что-то похожее на территории Украины.
Для России это стандартная практика. Эта практика уже минимум 400 лет. Все начиналось еще со шведской войны при Петре Первом, когда они устроили геноцид финнов. У них даже есть отдельное название этого геноцида. Потом были поляки, литовцы, чеченцы. Это просто, это культура нации, культура России.
So for Russians, it's a normal practice to act like in this way, in terms of war crime and this type of policy, which they used during the war, and they use already for approximately 400 years, and it goes back all the way to the Swedish war.
I see.
Финнами
and
был
against
геноцид финнов и такие же способы.
they use the same type of activities, same type of matters during war against the Finnish people, Finland, against the
Потом была Литва, Польша, потом была Германия в 45-м.
against the Lithuania, against the Germany, against so it's their normal type of policy procedure.
Это в культуре России.
And this type of acting is actually in the cultural, it's built into the culture of Russia.
Ну, просто еще исторический
Russian
пример.
or Russian, the Russian regime, the elite, maybe not Russian population culture,
Russian population,
the
it's
regime
Russian
culture,
population.
the
No.
leadership.
It's very important. This is Russian population.
Really?
Yes. Историки, посмотри, исторический пример, ну, культурный пример, да?
Just a cultural historical example now.
На
You
Украине
mean the majority of Russian are doing such kind of culture, like weaponry,
я приведу
war
пример.
crime?
Я приведу
Just
пример.
I will make an example now.
То
for
есть,
you.
когда украинская девушка выходит замуж, она называется невесткой.
When a Ukrainian woman is getting married, she's called
Так и говори. Невеста.
bride, невеста.
Невеста. In Ukrainian невеста.
It's невеста.
Что это значит? Она идет, от своего отца, который ее защищает, переходит к своему мужу, который ее защищает.
So she basically is moving from her father, who was defending her, is moving towards her husband, who will defend her.
So
В России,
Ukrainian woman is married to the Russian or just
вот, а в России девушка, которая выходит замуж, называется сноха.
And in Russia, a girl which is getting married is it's completely different. There's the word in
Сноха. Слово произнеси. Сноха.
they call
Snacha.
nakha.
Snacha.
If Ukrainian marriage is sa,
Невеста.
the
Невеста.
невеста. If Russian woman is married, nakha.
Snacha.
There is two terminology, right?
Что это значит?
What this
Это
means?
значит, что все мужчины рода могут ее насиловать.
This means that all men from her
В новом роду, в новой семье.
From her new family, from new family, can rape her.
I see.
Это культурная особенность. Это тут уже никуда. Это речь идет о русских.
It's a cultural speciality, specifically in Russian people.
It means common culture in Russia.
Yes. It's
Common culture.
Yeah, common culture.
Correct.
Ну, они такими же способами завоевывали башкиров, такими же способами завоевывали северные народы, которые сегодня являются частью России, и у которых сегодня собирают все ресурсы, нефть, газ и так далее.
So what Russians did before they conquered the same way the northern parts, northern nations, and since Bashkir, Tatars,
сибирские народы, северные народы.
The Siberian, the northern people, which now they are basically using their resources after they conquer them.
Все природные ресурсы расположены не в Москве, не в Ленинграде, они расположены на территории автономных республик, из которых выкачивают полностью все в Москву.
All the natural resources which Russia owns is actually being refined and being brought from the autonomous republics, which are far, far away. And which is controlled. Russia and St. Petersburg don't own these resources. All they do is just collect from.
Водопровода и канализация. Люди живут в грязи без водопровода, канализации и пьют водку.
So people, the two civilized cities, Moscow, St. Petersburg, is actually ruling the autonomous republics which don't have civilized type of living, and all they do is just drink.
From
drink
Siberia,
vodka.
you mean from Siberia?
Да, Сибирь, Татарстан.
Yes.
Actually,
Siberia.
Siberia, they are very different from, Moscow or Western Russia. Actually, they are different group, They should have independent like Ukrainian, because Siberian people are not same like Moscow people, Western Russia people. Like Ukraine also different. Siberia should be their own, independent. They should have. Now Moscow is controlling and taking their resources.
Yes,
It's
yes.
true. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true, yes.
It's about history, about war, about Ukrainian и международного террориста России.
It's about history, it's about war, and it's about the international terrorist Russia.
It's becoming, because their culture allow them to rape Ukrainian women as a common culture. That is not a human right norm and standard. It should not be exist in anywhere in the world. Such kind of culture should be abolished. It's unacceptable. Also, like similar to, if your culture allow to kill or to trouble to make somebody the life to right should be described, and you are the right to kill somebody or the right to rape somebody, that is against fundamental basic human right. That is unacceptable. I think Russian people may know nowadays. They can also hear such kind of injustice and bad culture, which in spite of the Russian government could not able to be a democratic government. They use more bad culture to get their own power in the regime elite group. So there are something wrong, or many things wrong in Russia in terms of culturally, and in terms of the population misconception and misunderstanding, and corruption, and these all are under authoritarian system, dictatorship. Usually happens such thing. So it's true, not just in Russia against Ukrainian or oppressed Ukrainian. Russia also contribute to Burma, to Burmese military. They, formally, they have relationship with military to military. They support a lot of Russian weapons to the Burmese. The Burmese military use Russian weapons, and they oppress their own Burmese people, and they kill, war crime and human rights violation, abuse Christian and other religion, and destroy Christian churches and other. So that Russian authoritarian Russians bad system contribute to the other places, including in Burma. Now we are facing now in Burma too. As even before Ukraine crisis, we were, military crisis against democracy already over 1 year ago. So we feel similar sympathy to Ukrainian. Ukrainian suffer a lot more because you are very close to Russia. You know, Russia can anytime come into Ukraine and they can shoot and kill. They are doing now exactly. So instead of Burma, they are not easily come, but they use indirectly through Burmese dictator, military dictator, that we both are suffering equally. So we have to fight back all this dictatorship, military, authoritarian system. You know, we should fight back. So any comment, last comment to our audience and all who are listening our podcast, Irina?
Ну, коммент, давайте, ну что, нам нужна победа, правильно? То есть,
We need victory.
Right.
то есть и всему миру станет легче жить.
And then the whole world will breathe easily, will live a much easier life.
Right. I think God will take care of us. By the way, you know, Ukrainian also Christian, Orthodox Christian, Russian also same Orthodox Christian, right? It's same Christian Orthodox, or what are different between Ukrainian Christian Orthodox and Russian Christian Orthodox?
This is other. We have in Ukrainian Greco-Catholics Orthodox. We have in Ukrainian Orthodox. We had in Ukrainian Russian Orthodox. 2 weeks ago, Russian Orthodox, Synod of Russian Orthodox make the decision, they separate with Russian Moscow Orthodox.
So they separated. They went together with Moscow.
Move from Moscow. Yeah.
I see. Before Ukraine and Russia Orthodox are together, right? You mean like that? Now they separated.
Yeah, we have Ukrainian Orthodox, we have Greco-Catholic Orthodox, we had Russian Orthodox. Yes, 2 weeks, еще 2 недели назад они вроде как были вместе, формально.
2 weeks ago, these they were formally together. So one religion but different church rule.
На самом деле это разные церкви с разной идеологией.
But truly speaking, it's each religion is a different type of church with a different type of ideology.
It's different doctrine. The church doctrine are different.
Doctrine is different, correct, yes. Доктрина, как идеология.
Украинская, когда ты приходил в русскую православную церковь на Украине, то ты ощущал помощь, тепло и поддержку.
So when you,
говори.
So when you come to a Ukrainian Orthodox,
Russian Orthodox in Ukraine.
Russian Orthodox in Ukraine, you felt that you were taken care of, and you felt this care inside.
А если ты зайдешь в Москве в русскую православную церковь, то на тебя накинутся, и ты там чувствуешь себя букашкой, которая является никому не нужной.
And the complete different story if you go to an Orthodox Russian Orthodox church in Moscow, Russia, you will feel they will start at you, and you will feel like a very small piece of something without this global story.
Yeah, they let scare.
Yeah. Они пугают, или как?
Да, они пугают, они пугают, они как, строят, они выстраивают в очередь, они, как в армии.
It's something similar to military type of thing which is happening in their church. They put you in a line, they scare you, they do all kinds of you know, these things.
Ну, то есть там диктатура внутри церкви.
It's something like a church dictatorship.
I see.
Ну, это просто отличие.
It's small differences, even though it's like one religion, but
Фундаментальное отличие просто двух стран.
just just a difference between, again, difference between the two countries, Ukraine and Russia.
Right. I mean, in terms of religion, especially in terms of Orthodox Church, should be, you know, together, and they should work together and to avoid any conflict or war against each other. The Orthodox Church should play a big role. I don't know why Ukrainian Orthodox and Russian Orthodox cannot work together. So how far Ukrainian Orthodox Church are doing on this issue, current Russian war against Ukrainian? They do anything? Do you have idea?
Скажи.
Церковь украинская православная что-то делает для военных, для победы?
Ukrainian Orthodox, нет, так, ну, все делают для победы. Они собирают гуманитарную помощь, они, то есть деньги направляют на поддержку беженцев, на поддержку людей, ну, то есть все, что, ну, все, что делают волонтеры, делает и Украинская православная церковь.
So yes, all that Ukrainian volunteers are doing is actually done by the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. They are collecting money for the money for the refugees. They're collecting all kinds of things. Everyone is doing what they can for the victory.
Ну, просто для того, чтобы понимать, что такое Россия, да, они разбомбили монастырь Русской Православной Церкви, которому больше, чем 1000 лет, с монахами в в Северодонецке. Это русская, свой же православную.
Just to clearly understand what is Russia, they bombed a Russian Orthodox Church in city Severodonetsk, Ukraine, and they completely. Church это church, то есть.
Вместе с монахами и вместе там около 100 монахов было.
Together with approximately 100 church personnel, let's call it this way, inside this church. Yes, and completely this church building was demolished by the Russian bomb.
Russian rocket.
And actually this building, this church building, it's approximately 1,000 years old. So it's
historical church, right?
Да, это ЮНЕСКО, под охраной ЮНЕСКо был.
It was under defense of UNESCO architectural, the bureau, and
historical.
And historical building, which was under defense of UNESCO. So
it's very unfortunate.
Such things are done, unfortunately, yes.
Ну, у нас таких уничтоженных объектов сотни на Украине.
Yeah, so for today we have more than 100 of such building constructions which were defended by the UNESCO, have been demolished and bombed and completely demolished by Russians.
That's why the Russians are normal. They don't have any more Christ. They don't have spiritually normal. They are full with the evil spirit. That's what happened. They can destroy churches and they can destroy church member. And Russian Orthodox leader and the Russian Orthodox people, they don't tell anything to the Russian government, or they don't say anything, or they don't ask them to avoid such kind of conflict. They did not do.
Что Кирилл, да?
Да, про Кирилла говорит, что Кирилл, почему Кирилл не может что-то как-то повлиять на политику?
Russian, head of Russian Orthodox Church, it's Mr. Gundyaev. It's normal family Gundyaev, name and church Kirill. Yeah, it's agent of KGB, Soviet Union KGB. It's very businessman, very
I see.
it's friend, big friend of Mr. Putin. Макс, переведи. Дело в том, что священники Русской Православной Церкви в церкви говорят русским людям: вы должны убивать украинцев, и мы вас благословляем на уничтожение украинцев.
So just for you to understand, the priests and the preachers in the church, they tell the Russian people that what you do, it's normal, it's okay to kill Ukrainian people. It's normal to go against Ukraine. It's,
Not normal, они призывают это делать.
and they even call for the people to act this way.
То есть есть куча видео, есть куча документов об этом пишут мировые издания. Поэтому
There's a lot of proof regarding these things. There is some video proof. There is also proof from global leaders of news about this. It's been documented, put down. And,
Русская православная церковь — это элемент манипуляции и воздействия на русский народ, и все. То есть это часть государственной машины.
So just to simplify that, to understand that the Russian Orthodox Church is actually, it's a part of the Russian machine regime, which is used to manipulate, to convince people, to guide people to things which are needed for the Russian government, unfortunately.
It's big problem. The church has big problem. The church, they don't have any more Holy Spirit. They don't have Christ anymore in the church. As you are saying, the Orthodox leader are former KGB and former intelligence, and he is a big friend of Putin. Something like that. He is the head of the Russian Orthodox Church.
Yeah, Kirill.
Kirill.
Patriarch Kirill.
He is the head of Russian Orthodox Church, right?
Yes, head of Russian. Patriarch Kirill. By the way, in Russian буддистские этик призывают точно так же убивать украинцев. Ну, то есть, как эти называются? Ну,
буддисты, которые мелкие...
Буддисты тоже призывают убивать.
The Buddhist preachers also in Russia, they also call for the people to kill Ukrainian people. So it's also happening in Russia.
Это не православная церковь, Бурятия это буддизм, да, вот очень много бурятов, солдат на Украине, и их всех тоже, вот их лидеры церковные призывают убивать.
There is a lot of Buryat soldiers fighting in the war against Ukraine from the Russian side, and their holy leaders are calling they have the Buddhist holy leaders are calling them to and encourage them to kill Ukrainian. Yes. Буддизм.
Рэбе России московского требовали, чтобы он тоже начал призывать к войне, он бежал из России, это известный факт.
So the rabbi of in Moscow, in Russia, was also pushed and pressed to encourage people to kill. What he did, he escaped from Russia because of this. He didn't want to do it.
This big problem about religion is the dark side of religion and among churches in Russia. So we need to call Holy Spirit to fear in the Russian churches, and to make disciple of Jesus Christ. So all are wrong direction. They are not following Jesus Christ, not following the Bible anymore. It's become dark side of the church in Russia. So it's not possible for Ukrainian Orthodox and Russian Orthodox negotiating and discussing, meeting. It was not
About what? It's,
yeah.
this is other people. In Ukrainian, we have church. In Russian, this is KGB. It's other system.
It's not. So similar in Burma, the military dictator, they use Buddhist monk, the leader of Buddhist in Burma, the monks, top monks, all they obey the military regime, the dictator military. So in that way, the religion was used and religion become subordinate to the military dictatorship machine. So the religious leader are used to, support the military dictator to kill democratic and innocent people in Burma. Even they destroy the other religion, Christian and Muslim and many other minority. So it was dark side of a religion in Russia and in Burma, especially Russia, the Christian, they need to call Holy Spirit. The church should be revised and they need to purify the church again. Otherwise, it will be a terrible dark side of the church at the moment, right? So, any last word, Irina, before we are closing?
Only victory. I want to Ukraine, I want to your country victory.
Yes, yes. We should pray.
After 10, 20, 30 years, we have a normal life.
Hope so. We should pray together. I think God will be with us and God will support us. God will be beside us. We will defeat all this evil, all this dictator, authoritarian, and we will make a peaceful country and peaceful world. So thank you very much, Irina, for today, and Maxim for joining us today. So see you next time. Have a good day.
Yeah. Have a good day. See you.